So Yaorana, hello, bonjour. My name is Céline Hervé-Bazin. I represent ICEP, the Catholic University of Papeete. I'm going to introduce a little bit more myself within the presentation. I'm going to talk about the iconic role of Polynesian women within the blue and green economy. I added iconic because I'm an information and communication researcher. So we are focusing on the circulation of social representation, cultural representation within the media. Just a little bit about myself, which will also help us to introduce to the bias of this research. First bias, obviously, I'm a woman. Some say I'm an attractive woman, so that's going to be another bias. I grew up in Morocco, and in Morocco, when young girls are born in a rural area, they're going to be dedicated to the water shore, meaning that they're going to have to fetch the water until they marry. And I grew up with those kind of girls, so I felt the difference of culture and education I was, having. So that made me to my PhD, which was on water and women in Africa. So I did several case studies along the way. I got the fortunate chance to have the UN declare that Water and Women International Year in 2008, and I was finishing my PhD in 2009. So somehow I became an expert. I don't know how still, but that brought me to French Polynesia in 2014. And I did a study with 35 women on water, climate change, and women, of course. So it was incredible. Of course, I've benefited from the generosity of French Polynesia, and I became piquée au tiare, which basically means that I fell in love with the island. So here I am now. I'm responsible of the Department of Information Communication at l'ICEP. We welcome 66 students, and I'm very happy to be challenged by them every day. In terms of research background, I'm very a gender type of heritage in terms of theoretical background. So a lot is related to gender and development literature, so Boserup, Baden and Green, Moser. But I'm also a communication major, and I focus a lot on visibility, invisibility, the public sphere, which brings me to my current research background. So as I said, I did a first qualitative study with 35 women here. I had the chance to go to New Caledonia, Haiti, so it became a French overseas study. And now I try to broaden my research to the green economy. So I'm much more familiar with the blue economy rather than the green economy. So the blue economy, maritime resources, to be short, and green economy related to farming, earth, but also recycling. So we talk about green, blue, also black, white economy. So I might say that we're just going to focus about gender economy. In terms of material, so it's like for Yonel, still preliminary, especially on the green economy. I did a lot of research for this specific conference, and I intend to do more qualitative interview to be able to, share a bit more about this work. But here, some pictures of my material. So it's a lot based on newspaper, movie, TV series, documentaries, TV shows, rather than TV series, like Fa'aopu or Ipa Matei, those that are shown on our local media. So very important also to know is this study is focusing on local media. And it's in a sort of opposition to the international picture of women, Tahitian women, the Vaine, mentioned of course by Serge Cherkesov. The Vaine, it's really this work. It's kind of a way to look at other type of Vaine that are pictured in the media, but it's a local scale. So it's approximately a qualitative interview, as I said, about 50 now. And analysis of media, I have a list of 85 women now that I'm trying to study within the media. So let's get to the results. So I tried to portray and to make some category. As I say, it's still preliminary for me. I need to make some confirmation. So the first, for me, we would call them the Mama Hao. So Mama, here when we call the Mama, c'est les Mamas du marché. Those women are usually old, they are very wise, they know a lot about craft, they have know-how, they're going to produce very traditional way of cultural identity, cultural crafts. They are very related to that. And Rao, which means, you know, the medicinal plant, it's a specific knowledge that we're here that is very important because we have this relation with the medicine as healing, you know, the healer, the traditional healer. So when you are sick in Tahiti, you go to the doctor, le taote, but you also go to the tawa. And the women, you have a lot of them who are healers, les guérisseuses, hein, les tawa, tawa ho. And they're very, like, it's this type of picture. You have this type of elderly women who are very positively viewed because they have this ancestral knowledge, and usually it's going to be a secret knowledge that it's going to be transmitted to the daughter or to the son or to some elected person. You know, it's very important to have this kind of representation. And interestingly enough, it's much more related to the green economy, and you have some who will appear within the Ministry of Green Economy. Yes, I forgot that in French Polynesia we have a Ministry of Green Economy since the last election. So they're going to be there, and they produce, for instance, a book related to Rao, and one is part of the Union and is very much related to the ministry, Terry Alpha. So this is presentation for me. It's really the presentation of the woman as a cultural Polynesian woman, the mama Rao. The second, who is also for me very much related to culture, is Ari'i Vaine. I hesitated a lot with Aito Vaine, Aito, which means a warrior. They use a lot of masculine codes. They are very strong, they are very fierce and fearless. They have this kind of very strong body, and usually they're gonna do male activities like fishing in the high seas, being able to conduct to be sailor, and they're gonna have a very strong way of talking, you know, like kind of male-oriented voice and also very strong body. So you have an in-between between the Aito, the women, but also Ari'i, because it's royal and it's related to the heritage of navigator, explorator. So they're going to be in this cultural, and they're going to be also very respected. So many of them I interview, they are on Fafaite Association, and Fafaite is the Association for les Explorateurs, who goes overseas to once again give the culture. I had it once just as a reminder that it could also relate to the green economy. For instance, now, à la Fête des Oranges in Punawea, so the orange, you have women, and they are usually shown, and it's very important to see that they can hold the orange like men. So here, again, very interesting to see masculinity, femininity. Here's the second set of women. It's much more related to what I call Occidental codes. So the first, entrepreneur, you talked a lot about them. Well, obviously, the women I see in the media, they are much more thinner than the one before. They are much more attractive also. And usually, they're going to be what we call demi. There are a lot are half Chinese, half Tahitian, half Popa, half Tahitian. So it's very important to see the mixity of those type of women. They're going to have this type of name, you know, also a first name Tahitian and a last name that is going to be more French or more Chinese. So you always have also in their name a way to mix the codes. They have a much higher education than the two previous ones. And what we suppose is that they have higher incomes, and they put a lot of effort on marketing. And it's very interesting because this one, she created her own line of tamanu cream, which was very innovative, Rao. But when you look at her, she looks much more like a Mama Rao than an entrepreneur. But when I talked with her, she told me, you know, maybe I'm young, but I cannot wait to be 50 to be called a Mama Rao. And I'm going to bring my knowledge because I've learned it from my grandmother. You mentioned a lot about grandmother. And I'm going to do it while I'm young. So it's very also interesting. The second type, of course, is women in science. We see it a lot in the European, Occidental, UNESCO. They have their own initiative. So it's basically engineers who are going to be women who are going to be working in the male dominant sector. So we have a lot of them in the water sector, environmental sector. So here's a few, par exemple, Glenda Melix, Mireille Chinon, they're going to be researchers. EDT, you see, or they're going to work in municipality. Par exemple, Terena Argus, who works at Punawea. So they're going to bring this type of higher profile with higher education and higher income. The last set of women, I'll say I'm going to bring back a little bit to the Vainée myth. So let's remember that one of the Vainée myths is Pomaré, the Queen Pomaré. And in politics, so Semir El-Wardi talks a lot about women in politics, it's very interesting to see that women are going to try to show their strength, going to try to show their political engagement, and they're going to also try to show their culturality. So it's very interesting that when they are in the public area, they always have this station touched. That's going to show that they are strong women related to the Airii again, but also related to the fact that many women were engaged in the power within the Polynesian history. And for this conference also, I made a quick survey with my students, and I asked them, okay, can you name me a woman that is very active in the green or the blue economy? The majority of them, they called me YouTuber or blogger. But Tahitian. So for instance, this is Ereiti. She's a very famous YouTuber for young people here on vegan food, and she's going to promote also her own, her own fa'apu, but with natural methods. So it's very interesting to see that this younger generation, when you talk about powerful women, they're going to talk about women who are related to the land, who are going to promote a new way of living, and healthier way, I guess, of living. And the last, which is the most interesting, maybe, especially for men. I told you I was biased. It's the Vainée Venus. Interestingly enough, we have two Miss Tahiti who fall into my research. The first one is Vaia Ferrand. When she was Miss Tahiti, she was working at a laboratoire de cosmétologie, the Monoi Society of Olivier Touboul. And it's very interesting when you look at the international media, because I found articles from the French media. She is going to make a point, she's going to emphasize her activity within the Monoi economy. Of course, Monoi is much more related to the typical Vainée than any other type of activity. And the other one who is very popular is Meyatari Aria. And she's in charge of communication for a water company, La Polynésienne des Eaux. And while she was a Miss, she talked a lot about her engagement for the water, the maritime resources. And for instance, she was the godmother of Temana Otemoana, which is an association protecting turtle. So very interesting, we have two beautiful women who are engaged in this topic. We also saw all the jewelry creators, who are mostly women. You see, this is Teveille Reproché, who created Teveille, the famous V. It's very interesting to see on a blog and a website, or even on an interview. She will always be pictured as a family member, as a woman with her kids, but also this young creative entrepreneur who created a new fashion in a male-dominated world. Let's not forget that the jewelry, the pearls, at the decision level, it's Van, it's Michel Fouchard, it's much more men than women. So we have those young women, or Miss Kelly Bailey, who is selling pearls as the international. Or Poema Duprel, who was the one we saw with the big tuna, a big fisherman. She's also showing pictures of herself as the Vainée, the beautiful Vainée here. She's lying under the water and looking at the ray. It's very much a way to picture herself as a Vainée, but she's also a Naito, a big fisherwoman. So I'm going to let this to my discussion, and the point that we find in gender and development theories. The first is the question of the education. What type of education do we promote through those portraits? It was very interesting to see that during the last year, because the Ministry of Green Economy is trying to promote training of women within the sector, is showing a lot of training with women, or you have a lot of interview of women. When they won contest, it's always women that are shown on the media coverage. The development, when you look at the development of the condition in Africa, when you look at the women who are on the ground, we always know that they have low income. They are the last piece of the chain. The one who's going to make money is going to be the industry. Here, it's very much promoted. And because you have this relation with the earth, Mother Earth and the land, but in terms of development, income, was it the reality behind? And of course, in terms of empowerment, we have many entrepreneurs here in Polynesia. So what will be the statutes really within those type of media coverage? The media icon, what is interesting is that through social media that we have now, we can measure you know, the impact of a woman. And I discussed with the producer of Far Apu, it's a TV show about the agriculture and the Far Apu, and he told me, women, you know, they don't want to be visible. They are very, very present. They can make a lot of decisions, but they don't want us to see you. And when you see the coverage and the, yeah, it depends. It's a very big discussion. It was his point of view, and he's a man, but anyway. But it's interesting to see this kind of visibility, invisibility, and cultural malleability. Of course, the cultural identity. I mentioned a little bit about the first Mama Ha'o. I forgot to mention that, of course, for the Polynesian culture, it's a way to connect to Mother Earth. You have this strong connection to Mother Earth, and the woman is the older of the Mother Earth, of the life. So she's going to be related to this. So for instance, Ina is going to use the koko or the umete, all this type of practice that are very women and are sacred as itself, which is also a way to discuss, of course, the femininity and the masculinity, because we all know that in the Polynesian culture it's also very transversal. Well, I wanted to make a very quick resume. You know, I'm a communication major, so a very easy way to explain what I've said is to talk about Vaiana. I mean, Te Fiti et Te Ka. It's a very easy way to summarize the relationship that we may, you know, think or how it produces certain types of relationship between the nature within the Polynesian culture and its value. And I'm going to finish with sacrality, which is also, of course, related to the mama. Many of them, they don't talk about the word mana, which is a big word now, but they're going to talk about, you know, the recognition of their ancestor. This recognition that you're going to have to make sure that something is going to survive from our ancestral know-how. So it's kind of a value, a way to value themselves, to make sure that they will transmit this sort of heritage. And I'm just going to finish by open up the discussion. When I just sent this presentation, I went to Carrefour and I saw a big poster of a French Polynesian in agriculture in a Far Apu, and Carrefour saying, let's promote our women in agriculture. So for me, it was very, you know, very, not shocking, but it's a way to show how this representation, this social, cultural representation can be brought into slogan, into marketing techniques, but also how it has an impact on the buyers. Because if they are there, it means that, of course, it's going to have an impact on the buyers. And I thank you, and I'm open for questions. No question.
Thank you so much, Celine. Do anyone has any questions?
No, pas de question.
I have
Okay.
a